When you look at a wheel that's this tall, this wide, and has lips like these, you expect three things: grip, slowdown power, and speed. But that's not the case here. Slide Perfect have totally flipped the script, and honestly, I kind of thank them for it. I mean, we all started this longboarding thing to have fun, right? But somehow along the way we all got caught up riding really grippy, stressful race wheels all the time. But here's where the Pro-Fluxx comes in. Slide Perfect have managed to give us a wide, durable wheel we can skate hard but still enjoy ourselves. This wheel encapsulates a good time, and honestly, it's kind of in a league of its own. By no means am I saying this wheel is perfect, but it has blown me away. For those of you who don't know, Slide Perfect are a small wheel brand from the UK. Unfortunately, they're often overlooked and cast in the shadow of bigger brands, but by no means does small equal bad. Slide Perfect makes some of the funnest wheels in the game, and they're beloved by riders all across Europe and all over the world. They're also a pillar of the longboarding community in the UK, and honestly, I kind of think they're deserving of more love. Let's have a quick overview of these wheels. These wheels have the speed of a race wheel, but the slowdown power of a freeride wheel. They allow you to go fast, but they don't really have the brakes to match the speed. Of course, yeah, this is kinda scary, but it's also unbelievably fun. It also means they're surprisingly easy to stand up slide. To be clear, these are more of a rip and grip wheel than a freeride wheel. They can actually hold like pretty decent lines around fast corners. If you do have the skills, you can stand up slide them. And you can stand up slide them thanks to how slidey the wheel is, the predictability and the consistency of the urethane in the slide. Like, this is one of the most consistent feeling wheels I have ever skated. Can't say I've ever felt a sharp-lipped wheel that felt as good as this one. I would highly recommend this wheel to someone who wants to do stand-up slides on a narrow board, like me, or just wants a fast, square-lipped wheel they can go fast on and also do pretty big slides on. So the big reason I've really enjoyed this wheel is I've been able to stick it on my slalom board, get pretty good rail matching, grip fast corners, but still stand up slide them when I'm feeling a bit spicy. They allow me to have that mix of hands up and hands down riding that I really haven't felt with any other wheel so far. It's like a style of skating that I knew I wanted to do but just never really had access to. And it's not like I haven't tried. No other wheel truly allows for this type of riding. Most of them are either too narrow or too slidey or too wide. You know, they're never really a perfect fit. But the Pro-Fluxx fits perfectly and ticks all the right boxes. These wheels are impressively fast. I mean, they may be a hair slower than proper race wheels like the Cheetahs and the Cueis, but they hold their own pretty well, which is kind of scary considering how much they don't slow you down, but more on that later. With the skin, I didn't find these wheels to be overwhelmingly grippy. They actually slid pretty easy and I had like no difficulty trying to control them. The slowdown power was there, but it's not really comparable to a proper race wheel. I'd actually recommend these wheels to someone who wants to gain more confidence with sliding fresh, square-lipped wheels. But yeah. Without skin, these wheels are quite slidey. The only way you can get like decent slowdown power and decent grip is when you're sliding them by really applying your weight into the wheels, really sitting into them. But surprisingly, despite how slidey they actually are, they have quite a bit of corner grip. Is it corner grip or is it edge grip? But you can go quite fast around corners with these wheels. They do hold their speed, they do grip corners pretty well. They aren't as grippy as other race wheels and you can't carry quite as much speed with them. Given how slidey they are, it's impressive how much speed you can actually carry through a corner. On roads that have like a lot of heavy braking or rather a lot of sliding, I would not use these wheels. They just don't slow you down enough in time that I'd personally feel comfortable taking them down those roads. You have to slide for a significant period to reduce your speed with these wheels and it's just really scary. When I go quick with them with the more dangerous roads, I sometimes wish they could brake more. sometimes wish they just had a little bit more slowdown power. Yes, they don't have the most slowdown power. If you're skating them, you're gonna have to give yourself a little bit more room, as you're gonna be sliding quite a bit to reduce your speed. Yes, in some cases you can simply slide earlier, but you don't always have the room to do so. It's not always conducive on most roads. If I had to compare how much slowdown power they had to another wheel, I'd maybe compare them to Alphas. Alphas were a little bit grippier and had a bit more slowdown power, but yeah, there was just also another icy wheel that I didn't feel fully comfortable taking them down on dangerous roads. They were fast, but they didn't really have the brakes. But not having a lot of slowdown power isn't necessarily a bad thing. These wheels are really fun, and I've been doing a lot of huge slides on my local roads. That plus it allows for big stand-up slides as well. It's almost like they're a big old freeride wheel in a race wheel shape. These wheels also have an unbelievably consistent feeling slide. It feels pretty much the same on different pavements. Also, it's extremely confidence inspiring, and really the only reason I've been able to feel confident about doing stand-up slides on them. These wheels feel somewhere between buttery and icy when you slide them. It's really weird, and it's just kind of nice to kind of just glide over everything. Doesn't matter what is there, whether it's a crack, whether there's roughness in the road, they just slide over it. And the key thing about that is they're just really forgiving. They don't really feel like they want to buck you off at all. Even if you mess up, if you put your weight the wrong way, they just want to keep sliding. And yeah, you can stand up slide these. I mean, you're gonna have to like lean off your board a little bit more and dig your weight into either your heels or your toes, but you can stand up slide them, and it's really worth the effort. Shit. And the only reason I felt confident about like throwing standees is how predictable and consistent they are in the slide. I feel more comfortable on these wheels chucking standees than I have on other smaller freeride wheels. If there was a poster boy for what a predictable wheel would look like, it would honestly be this one. Let's quickly touch on the durability of this wheel. The skin on these wheels actually lasted for a decent amount of time. They didn't quickly wear out, and I was able to actually take a number of laps on my locals where I was actually doing slides. The other thing that's really impressive to me is how the lips are holding up. These lips are still pretty sharp, which in comparison to the other race wheels I've tried is amazing. The others, within a few slides, the lips started like chunking a little bit and looking a little bit rugged, but these look perfectly fine. And with how the lips have been wearing, which is barely at all, I really don't think these wheels are gonna chunk. The nature of high density soft durometer race wheels is that they tend to chunk, but I don't think these will. And whilst I haven't really skated them long enough to give you guys a firm idea of how durable they will be, I really think these are gonna last you a very long time, perhaps even longer than other race wheels. The other thing I really liked about these wheels was how they were over rough roads. They're very reminiscent of how a 74A Magnum feels. Kind of just like absorb all the road vibration, and you don't really feel every crack or every pebble you roll over. This was also super nice in the super rough corners. The wheel just kind of wants to stay planted instead of like bouncing around the way the 77A Cueis did. But as much as I've said all that stuff that I like about this wheel, sometimes they feel way too fast for how much brakes they have. I wouldn't take them down any like super dangerous roads where I require a lot of grip and a lot of slowing down power for my wheels to make it down safely. And actually, if you're a super heavy rider and you actually want something that has brakes, I would actually recommend you stay away from these wheels. Another negative thing is how these wheels literally turn into ice when you ice out. If you take them up to that 90-degree angle, these wheels just they go, and it's super hard to control them and super hard to bring it back. Like it's scary. But yeah, when you go to 90, they turn into ice and no slowdown power. The other thing I didn't like is how on point you have to be with your weight management all the time to get really good brakes from these wheels. If you're not really applying your weight properly, these wheels kind of just want to slide forever. So if you want to use them for open road stuff, you have to be on point. You kind of have no choice. The other thing I didn't like is that not all bearings worked well in this core. Some of the bearings had a little bit of slop. I tried it with a non-built-in bearings and some spacers, and there was a bit of slop as well. I eventually tried some Zealous, and the Zealous worked really well. It just kind of sucked that I couldn't use all my bearings with this wheel, or all the bearing combinations I wanted to, at least. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, like, maybe share it with your friends. Big thanks to the Patreon subscribers, and yeah, catch you guys in the next video.